Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Truth be told, I still don't. To make a long story short, my name is Nick. I'm 28, a graduate of Montserrat College of Art, and I'm applying for a winter fellowship at the Macdowell Colony with the intention of producing at least the first chapter of a feature-length animated movie to be called Anima 4096. It will be a post-apocalyptic art film about the Grey Goose scenario. This is the idea that in a future of advanced nanotechnology, a single self-replicating nanobot could reduce all life and perhaps all matter on Earth into a neutral gray substance like goo or ash. In the tradition of movies like The Last Man on Earth and The Quiet Earth, a large portion of the story will focus on one man confronting this desolate world alone. This isolation and freedom are the elements I find most interesting and what I want to bring into a more experimental realm. I called this project an art film. I'd like to clarify this first by saying I realize that strictly speaking, it will not be a film at all. It's an all-digital animation. Secondly, since art doesn't have a very strict definition, I intend it to mean in part that the craft, process, and concept of the work are just as important as the story they tell. Also, that these elements, as well as the narrative, may require some interpretation and even perhaps some research to fully grasp. I'm a big fan of films that stay with you because of their strong imagery and abstraction, like Jan Shankvire's Alice, for example. I also very much enjoy films that inspire and even require more than one watch, because the plot is complex, yet not laid out for you on a silver platter. Shane Carruth's Primer is a prime example of a movie giving you the bare minimum of storytelling to express a complex plot. The challenge of these types of movies is to make them enjoyable, even though they may not be totally understandable. Anyway, no one can please everyone, so in the end I plan to make this movie the way I would like to see it, and that's all I can do. After the project is done, there will surely be supplemental materials for people who want to know more about the process and the intended narrative. In other words, DVD extras. Easter eggs, Christmas presents. Just kidding about the last one. As to the premise, the story will follow a middle-aged man whose personal nanobots saved him, his house, and the tree next to it from the disintegration that befell the rest of the world. This world was engulfed by nanos that disassemble organic materials. What remains is like a new primordial soup. Some structures are left behind, but hardly any houses, as most of those rely heavily on wood. Fewer and fewer things are left every day as the nanos expand their diet to petroleum-based products and other organic derivatives. So any other remaining structures are unsound at best and are often sucked down into the soup. This is the wreckage of a future society where universal access to nanotechnology had given the human race the ability to quite literally play God, to live out their dreams in the real world. So, our character is able to shape the world around him into everything he wants, using his personal nanos, and even the soup itself, which seems to obey commands given by his nanos. The limitation is that anything he creates will only last for 4,096 seconds before melting back into the gray sea. He can always recreate it, but it will have lost anything it accumulated during that hour and 8 minutes. This, of course, includes memories. So he can make company for himself, even recreate a loved one or a pet, but they will always forget everything in an hour, and he'll have to watch them melt over and over again. He himself can accumulate new memories clearly, but his recollection of the past has been damaged. Like everything else in this world, his mind is augmented by nanotech. As such, viewing his own memories is like playing back broken digital video. It's like its own kind of soup. Now, I don't want to ruin it for you, so that's all I'll say about that. The outline of the story and the process for rendering it are all decided. It is my goal to have the entire script fleshed out in time for the February residency. Now, I'd like to talk a little about process, aesthetic, and concept. This project involves a lot of drawing directly into the computer using Adobe Flash, as well as many photo and video references. A tributary aspect of the project is taking reference from post-apocalypse films that have fallen to the public domain, such as The Last Man on Earth and A Boy and His Dog. Visually, the movie will resemble grainy, degraded black and white photography, which is consistent with the degraded nature of this world. This is achieved by processing every flash animated video clip in Photoshop. Because of this heavy filtering, I can potentially use still frames from these public domain classics for backgrounds and have them be stylistically indistinguishable from drawings in the foreground. I am very interested in the artifacts of different media and how other elements can be assimilated into them with the proper tweaks. This animation will be the culmination of several artifact-based short works I've done in the past. It is shaping up to be the most structured and ambitious project I've worked on to date. Most of my previous animation and video work has been very postmodern in that it mostly intends to simply play with meaninglessness. As such, my past work is primarily composed of shorts that exhibit only the vaguest suggestion of narrative. Either that or the narrative is so fractured and arbitrary that it can't help but be silly. I hope this project can utilize and repurpose certain digital artifacts to create a dense and mysterious atmosphere. In this feature, all memory and dream sequences will be rendered in color using a video scrubbing technique I discovered about 4 years ago. This process involves transferring incomplete DivX encoded video files over a network to break them, then scrubbing around the file in QuickTime and recording the action with a screen recording program. The result is a colorful, half-fluid, half-glitchy, almost ballet of forms and space as they melt into one another. It suits this project both visually and conceptually. I also hope it will add a bit of vibrance to an otherwise completely dreary world. Okay, as for why I want to come to the Macdowell Colony, I think the main reason is that I long for the feeling of possibility that comes from being around a lot of creative people. I miss the focus and sense of purpose that it affords me. I can see getting both of those things from the Macdowell Colony. I need an inspiring place away from distractions, a place where I can get a good balance of camaraderie and solitude, of access and isolation. The beginnings of this project have been floating around in my head for almost a year. It's taken me some time just to decide what I wanted it to be. I would very much like to begin the production stage somewhere away from the comfort and regularity of my own home. From the pictures I've seen, I also very much like the remote look of the colony's location. If I'm accepted, I plan on bringing my camera to take reference video. Though I still want to make the movie if I'm not accepted, I can just imagine myself up there in a winter cabin, looking out the window, thinking about the end of the world. It's a nice thought. Now I'd like to leave you with a visual sample of the feature, a teaser if you will, just to give you a sense of how it might feel to watch my movie. None of this footage will necessarily end up in the final product. Now that the disclaimers are out of the way, here it is. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe I'll see you in the winter.